Congressman, former Army Ranger Brian Mast serves currently on the House Foreign Relations Committee. How unbelievable is it, Congressman, that Canada cuts off they just decide they're not going to buy Russian oil before we do, but yet we're leading the world?
No, it's absolutely unbelievable. I would paint the picture like this. It'd be like sanctioning a farmer without sanctioning their crops. That's what the globe is doing by still allowing Russian energy to flow to different places. Those that are taking those Russian sources of fuel are the biggest enablers of allowing Russia to continue their madness. And I think in the end, the world is going to say those that were capable of the most did the least. You have right now Western Europe, the West, and really the globe, those that can do the most, they are doing the least. And if the West does not look at that and putting their finger on the scale, then that's how history will remember this.
Congressman, they fight a lot different than us. If we kill civilians, there's usually a 2-year investigation on it. And the fact that if it doesn't start right away, there's a scandal investigation on who's covering things up. In Syria, in 2 years, they killed almost 7,000 civilians, a third of which were children. Do you think there's any investigation in Russia? And I say that for this reason. If you wonder how a frustrated Russian armed services and officers do things when things don't go exactly their way, your answer is they level the place. They don't care about schools, hospitals, and perception.
No, I don't believe that Putin or any of Putin's cronies will be investigating the Putin regime. That would be ridiculous to think about, obviously. He is still setting the rules. The world is still allowing Putin to set the rules, and everybody should reflect on this. That is the strength that nuclear weapons gives a state actor. That is the only reason that the globe is allowing him to set the terms and the rules of this entire war, because of that fear of what he will do with nuclear weapons.
I've seen some footage. You probably saw the same thing. He might have used the thermobaric bomb already, which basically vaporizes people in the most horrific way imaginable, just short of nuclear weapons. Already. We are 6 days in.
Yes, his commitment is total. He is going to commit every single asset that he has to make sure that he defeats the Ukrainian people, and there's nothing to tell us that that is where he stops. Everybody that used to be a former Soviet bloc country, whether you're looking at Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, every one of those countries along that Russian border, they're absolutely concerned about this. They have been for years, and they are rightfully so, because there's nothing that says that Putin stops at this place.
I would, very interesting to see if Norway, Sweden, as well as Finland decide to join NATO, because it would cause World War III, but they probably wouldn't attack. We don't attack them because they have nuclear weapons. They don't attack our people for the most part if you're a member of NATO. So tonight, the State of the Union will take place, and the President of the United States wanted to talk about Build Back Better. Here it's going to be a passing mention. Thankfully, it's never going to work. But he is going to talk about how he led the world to fight for the Ukrainians, and he's going to be talking about things he is going to do to ease the pain of inflation. What are you going to be looking for?
Look, what he's going to do is he's going to try to take a victory lap very undeservedly. He's going to do what he did with Afghanistan, which is try and paint the world as though there were no other alternatives other than what occurred. Everything else, it was an inevitable action that these things happen in the globe. Ukraine, inflation, border, Afghanistan, these things had to happen. What I would like to see out of him is real solutions to what's going on with supply chain and inflation here domestically. You know, look at the fuel tax, the 18 cents per gallon, the 24 cents per gallon diesel. Look at the excise tax on truckers. Look at bringing in military engineers into our ports to help relieve the labor issues that are going on there. Look at the fact that the Fed is still literally printing money in the midst of the greatest inflation. There's so many things that can be done to help alleviate this pain on the American people, this self-inflicted wound.
Real quick, Rashida Tlaib will do a rebuttal really to the President of the United States. In her own party. So this left-wing socialist will talk about how they still didn't do voting reform, and how they didn't get Build Back Better, and try to turn all guns on Manchin and Sinema. Have you ever heard of this? A Democratic president getting rebutted by a Democratic congresswoman?
I haven't heard of it, but I will say thank you to this. Let's paint the picture historically, right? What were Bernie Sanders' policies an entire presidential cycle ago that that nobody thought were possible became mainstream ideology for the Democratic Party in this last presidential race. So what you see Tlaib and others painting the picture of what should be right now, that is the future of the Democratic Party.
Congressman, you have a lot of pull when it comes to tactics in war. Stay on camera, stay vocal, because you know exactly what the Russians are capable of. And I think this could get really ugly in the next few days. Thanks so much for joining us today.
All the best.